Who's here likes to swim?
Maybe you ran out of breath while enjoying a swim. But imagine if you could swim without the hassle of surfacing to get oxygen. Well, imagine if we could breathe directly underwater using our gills. How would that feel? If we had gills, we'd need to draw water into them to get oxygen. It would probably feel cool and wet. There are two ways to do this. You can either suck water in through your mouth or swim with your mouth open to let the water in naturally. If you use the second method, you just gape. But you have to keep swimming to keep breathing, which means you can't just roll around in broad daylight. This is why some fish move around even when they're sleeping. The water that goes in is released through the gills. That's why you've probably seen gills moving like this. So, gills are actually much more efficient than oxygen. But how is that possible? Gills can absorb a lot of oxygen from the water. Compare that to the lungs, which can only absorb a quarter of the oxygen they take in. The secret lies in these super thin sheets and the human respiratory system. Okay, so oxygen is taken in by the blood to enter the body. So the more blood that needs oxygen, the better. Inside the gills are these tiny sheets so that more blood vessels can capture oxygen from the water. And the gills can also take in oxygen and expel waste product from respiration at the same time. If you think of it like our nose, we only need to inhale, we don't need to exhale, so we don't waste any time. But if gills were that opened, would we be able to breathe using them alone? The answer is no, because our oxygen needs are so great. So even though gills are very effective at getting oxygen, the oxygen content in water is much lower than in air. It's like a child who's really good at climbing trees. If a tree he climbs only bears few fruit, the harvest will still be small. If we were to force it, our gills would have to be so gigantic they would cover our heads. Perhaps it would still be reasonable if we had both gills and lungs, like this fish, which breathes underwater using its gills. But if there's less oxygen in the water, it will rise to the surface to breathe. Now, imagine a future where the earth is flooded, sea levels are rising, land is sinking, and everywhere there's just water, water, and more water. Do you think it's possible for us to evolve to have an additional breathing apparatus? And as always, thank you.